My name's Jan Brittain. I'm recently retired from the Western North Carolina Conference, June 2022. And I've been asked to talk a little bit about how it feels to be honored with a gift to the Pass-the-Mantle Fund. And I'm going to do that in a minute, but I want to comment first on how it feels to receive funds when you're trying to answer your call and you're struggling with that. I received my call to full-time ministry when I was 16, kneeling on the concrete floor of a summer camp. And I committed my life to full-time Christian service. I didn't really know what that meant. I remember saying to myself at the time that if I was a boy, I'd know I was supposed to be a pastor of a local church. But I didn't know any women pastors. I'd never heard of a woman pastor. And so that didn't seem possible. I assumed I'd be a foreign missionary because that's what all the women I knew who served the church were doing. But as time went on, I discovered there are a lot of different ways to serve the church. And so I set about answering that call to full-time Christian service my way. And I had some great ways. I was a Christian educator. I was a preacher's wife. I began pursuing a life in academia. But finally, 10 years later, with the help of some wonderful folks, I yielded to that call and I set about returning to seminary, shifting degrees to MDiv and pursuing ordination. It was a big move. I had 2 little children, 2-year-old and an infant, but I had everything in place. I had gotten some promise of financial help from family members. I had the conference loans. We were set. And then, well, there was a blow up in the family. Turns out that some of the family members were not as supportive of my pursuing ordination as I had thought, or I guess had hoped. Now, they came around, and my family members have been my greatest supporters in ministry. But at that time, I just didn't feel like I could take the money to help me go back to school. And so suddenly I didn't have the funds. Now, Barbara Brown Taylor was in charge of this at Candler and Emory when this was happening. And when I told her my story, she found the funds and I was set. And the finances were important. I needed those dollars. But far more important was the message. That when those I thought would just couldn't support me, someone else would. And the message was simple. It was, we see you. We see your call. We see your potential for ministry. We can see you serving the church. And you know it mattered. Now these folks who receive these funds from the Pass-the-Mantle Fund that's set up here, they didn't get that same message. We see you. We see your call. We see your potential. We can see you in ministry, and it'll matter. But I was asked to talk about how it feels on this side of the Pass-the-Mantle Fund to receive gifts in your honor. Well, most of the gifts that were given in my honor came from other pastors, and that made them all the more important to me, very special. Because you see, we pastors, as much as we love each other and admire each other and like being together, we really don't get to be together very much in the day-to-day ministries that we do. We don't hardly ever get to hear each other preach. We don't witness firsthand acts of pastoral care, or even the mundane faithfulness of church administration. And so with each of those names that I read on a card, I received a message. And you know what? Even in retirement, it was a remarkably similar message. We saw you. We saw you answer your call. We saw you fulfill your potential. We saw you in ministry for Jesus. And you know what, folks? It mattered. It really mattered.
I'm John Murphy, a candidate for ordained ministry in the Western North Carolina Conference and a current first-year MDiv student at Duke Divinity School. This past year, I received the Pass-the-Mantle Scholarship. This scholarship has allowed me to alleviate the debt of attending Duke Divinity and has allowed me to focus more on my classes and my education as I strive towards being a pastor in the United Methodist Church. Without this scholarship, I would not be able to focus so much on my classes and would be more worried about the financial burden of attending a university like Duke. I want to give a big thank you to the donors of this scholarship, and I look forward to being a part of the connection of the United Methodist Church in the coming years to come.
There is beautiful spiritual formation that happens in Divinity School, but it's also college, and like any college, it can be a stressful time. For me, the Pass-the-Mantle Scholarship has helped me financially lessen my burden there so that I can concentrate on my studies and my spiritual formation. I love that the Pass-the-Mantle Scholarship funds are given in honor of retiring clergy, and it honors their years of service, and it reminds those of us who are going into the ministry that we stand on their shoulders, and I pray to be able to honor all that they've done before us. I also am grateful for the way the Pass-the-Mantle Scholarship reminds me of the greater United Methodist connection and the way that we all support and encourage one another. I am thankful for everyone who gives to the Pass-the-Mantle Scholarship.